Hi, good morning. Today we'll be doing the mouth. Okay, so as similar to other facial feature that I've done, we are again doing the mouth in two different views. Okay, so this time round, different from the others, we will start from the side view of the mouth, which is this one, the side view. Okay, then after that we'll do the front view. Okay, again we are gonna do with two methods. One is the grid method, and second method will be the basic shape method. Okay, I'm gonna demonstrate to you how to actually do the mouth. So now we actually go according to the grid method. If you have a grid method, you realize that the mouth is actually in the middle 1/3, and then we have to cut it across. So we cut it across similarly here. Alright. And you realize that it's in the middle 1/3, right? So because it's in this area, okay, middle 1/3. So now what I do is actually to cut this line. Can you see this line? This line cuts here and it cuts here. So what you're gonna do is we do the same. It cuts here and it cuts here, right? So this one is dark for sure. And then we have the lips. Can you look at this thing slightly like a heart shape over here, and it cuts over here in the middle of this box. So what you're gonna do is we do a heart shape similar, and then we cut it downwards into the middle line as we see. Alright, followed by this curve kind of shape. Okay, this curve shape is where does it cut? It cuts at this area of the grid. Okay, so let us do it. Okay, it cuts here and then it goes down basically to the half point. Okay, so the half point is here and it goes down to the half point. And then we have the lips from the inside coming out from the half point as well. So it goes on like this to the half point. And where does it cut? It cuts over here and it goes downwards, right? So let us cut over here and go downwards as well. Where does this end? It ends at around slightly 1/3 of this thing. So if you divide into 3, 1/3 is around here. We cut it across over here. And then we have the mouth with actually some parts is coming out, so we do this. Okay, and we have now the facial features, the muscles that is turning out downwards in a semicircle form. Okay, so we start to have a semicircle form. It's very dark over here, so let's just try to shade it before we forget anything that happened. Okay, so we start shading the rest of it. The reason why I want to shade the rest of it is very simple, because later when we're doing the inside of the mouth, there's some parts that is super dark. We don't want the super dark area to be similar to the background. If not, the whole thing will blend into the surrounding and we won't get to see the whole mouth and all. Okay, so this is actually also a technique to increase contrast. So what we're going to do is we're going to shade the darker areas and make sure it's really dark, and then we start to shade. Okay, and then we have this tonal value over here. Okay, and it starts to look slightly realistic, I would say. Okay, and then we have the mouth is inside here. Can you see that it's actually a U shape? A U shape. So this thing is a U shape. Okay, so we have the U shape coming up here. We have the lips over here, and we have all the shining areas over here, in which we are unable to really do exactly, but we can try to have some white parts so that we can duplicate the white areas. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to duplicate some parts of the white area and going to make it as real as possible. And then we start shading this curve over here. So if it's a curve, then some parts of it have to be dark, some parts of it have to be lighter. So this part is slightly lighter and this part is slightly darker, and go to the inside of the mouth, which is significantly darker. So now we're shading the inside of the mouth. Okay, then we have now the top of the mouth, which is the heart shape. So the heart shape, can you see? It's quite a full heart shape. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna settle again for the U shape again. Can you see this U that is inside? Okay, so this side of the mouth is actually very dark because it lies inside the shadow. So let us go for a darker tone. Okay, and you realize that this is actually like a triangle. So let's do the triangle and start with the darker tone. The darker tone actually fades the middle of the mouth right into the end of the mouth. So we can try to darken it on the edge a little bit more, and then we have this part which is slightly lighter, so we try not to touch it, and then we have the middle tone over here. Alright, middle tone again. Can you see this mouth is starting to pop out? And then we try to shade the other parts. Okay, and then we have the the muscle over here, this is very crucial. I think most of people, they neglect this muscle because they think the lips is just the lips, right? So you see, you go and cover and do this muscle. So now the whole thing actually start to look very 3D, right? If you realize. Okay, so this is drawing by the grid, and then we can start changing this thing into like a basic shape kind of drawing. Basic shape is very simple. I think it's simpler, but again, the shape definitely is a triangle if you look at it this way, right? Because the mouth is opening. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna imitate or try to copy the shape, right? The shape, can you see? It's a curve, and then we have a curve inside the mouth, and then we have a cut inside the mouth, and we have a slight heart shape over here, right? The heart shape. Okay, but the heart shape is slightly bigger because it's definitely not going to fit into the triangle. Basic shape is something that we use. It's a shape borrowing technique. It doesn't mean that we have to 100% use the shape to draw. Okay, so once we finish borrowing the shape and then we are able to do it, then we don't need the shape anymore. We can change the shape into the things that we want. Okay, so we have this, and I gotta go on very simply to just shade the inside to make it even darker, because this method is quite direct, so I don't think I need to see where is it, determine where is it. I just need to indicate the colors and start shading, right? So you realize that the lips over here, it remain the same, so it's like supposedly very dark, so I keep it very dark. Can you see this area over here? So there's a curve over here, so I just follow. Okay, and then I have the slightly darker area which I start shading, right? And then the mouth again, can you see all this shining area? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw it out again and start shading some parts of it to make it look realistic. Okay, yeah. Once it's looking good already, I again start to have this shading from the side of the mouth, so that I can make it look more 3D. Okay, so again, also I want to emphasize, because you look at when I'm shading always in one direction. So shading in one direction actually helps to make the drawing look nicer. If not, it will look very messy because the strokes will go everywhere. Okay, so now when you have that, we are going to build this top part. Can you see that this part is always shining? Okay, it's covered by pencil mark. You might not be able to see very clearly, but this part is definitely shining most of the time. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave a part that is very, very bright, and then after that we're gonna just shade for the rest of the lips, okay, towards the end, and it's gonna form up something similar to the picture that we have here, which is like this. Okay, slightly darken it if we need to. Okay, we need to. So this is using a basic shape, and this is using a grid. Okay, and now we're gonna do the second one. The second one is rather simple. You only need to divide it into half. Okay, and another half again, another half again. So if you have it here, we will see that this thing is actually just moving up, coming down. Okay, of course different lips, they have different shape, but this lip that we have here is just, can you see, it's like a mountain or hill kind of thing. Yeah, and this part is slightly darker. Okay, and the darker part don't connect straight away with the hill. Why? Because there's actually a muscle here that's protruding out, which makes it slightly lighter. Okay, so now we're gonna do the bottom part. The bottom part, you realize that it's not straight. Okay, it goes up, goes down, and then it comes down. Can you see this popping down shape that happens in every lip? I think it's quite common. If you can't do it, can't see it, then you can look at your own friend's lip. Okay, they might have this exhibit this sign. Okay, so this popping out at the middle part is always very obvious. And then you have a lower lip. This person have a bigger lower lip than the upper lip, so we can see that the lower lip actually goes down all the way to this line. Can you see, all the way down to this line? So we follow all the way down to this line. Again the same. Then after that we'll see the lines inside the lips. Can you see the lines inside the lips? This is what actually make the lips very 3D and 3-dimensional. So we follow the line, we start to add the lines in. Okay, in the darker parts, the lines definitely will appear darker, and in the parts where there's lesser lighting, the lines will appear like slightly whiter. Okay, So because this thing is in this shape, so definitely there'll be a shadow that's cast, right? So normally this side will cast a shadow, the middle part will cast a shadow as well, and the shadow will start casting at the sides because the side is curving in a U shape, right? U shape. So this part will definitely be dark, this part definitely be dark. Okay, don't believe, look at your own lips. Okay, or look at your friend's lips. If you can't look at your own lips, don't have mirror, then look at your friend one. So okay, I start shading. Remember, shade in one direction also. Again, like the toner value also have to follow the rest of the lip. You can't be like having one lip one color, the bottom lip another color. If the toning different, then it will look very strange, it will look very weird. Okay, so now this is what we're gonna do, and we have the bottom part which is significantly darker as well, followed by this part. Alright, and then you start to shade this area, right? Okay, and we start to shade this area. Okay, now we're done with this, so we're going to do the final one, which is done with the basic shape. So you can see these two things, actually it look like an oval shape, but no, we are not going to use two oval. I think the best way to do it will be to use a triangle, followed by a small square in the middle, followed by another triangle. And if you realize that this triangle is actually not a small triangle, it's a long triangle. So why do I use this shape? Because this shape very easily, I just shape borrow, and I come down. Okay, I shape borrow again. Okay, I can easily reach to what I need to, okay, using this shape. That's why I always find the easiest way to shape borrow. Okay, again I have the lines of the lips coming out again without the shading, like eyelashes. After the shading, it'll be a bit different. Okay, so we start to shade. Okay, and then we have the shadow below the lips, right? And we start to have the tone of the lips. And we realize that once again the side of the lips will definitely be darker. Okay, if this thing happens sometimes, because you realize that there's this super dark line inside the underneath of the lips, right? And if you don't do it properly, the lips seems as though they are stick together. So what you're gonna do is actually every time after you finish, you try to have this slow line that's happening over here to actually indicate out the separation. Okay, then we start to shade the middle part. Okay, of course if needed, right, then you can do the shadow, but if there's no lighting at the front, then you don't need to do the shadow. Okay, so that's it for the drawing of the lips, which is the mouth, and I thank you for your attention over here.